Psycho-Cybernetics, a new way to get more living out of life. Psycho-Cyber, by Maxwell Maltz. Introduction. Imagine a man walking into a plastic surgeon's office. He's lived his whole life feeling ashamed, convinced his face is the reason for his failures. The surgeon performs his magic, and when the bandages come off, a new person looks back from the mirror. The man walks out of the office and into a new life, confident, successful, and happy. It's a beautiful story. But what about the woman who walks into that same office? She, too, has felt like an outcast her whole life because of a prominent feature she despises. The surgery is a masterpiece. She is, by all accounts, beautiful. But when she looks in the mirror, she sees the same old person. She continues to act shy, to feel unwanted, to live as if nothing has changed. This was the mystery that haunted Drive. Maxwell Maltz. He was one of the world's most famous plastic surgeons in the mid-20th century, a man who literally rebuilt faces. He saw firsthand how changing a person's physical image could radically transform their personality and their destiny. But he was more fascinated by the failures, the people for whom the scalpel was not enough. He began to wonder, what if the real face, the one that truly dictates our success or failure, isn't the one we see in the mirror? What if it's an invisible face, a mental blueprint, that controls everything we do, feel, and achieve? This question led him on a journey far beyond the operating room, into the fields of psychology, physics, and a brand new science called cybernetics. And what he discovered became one of the most influential self-improvement books ever written. Published in 1960, Psycho-Cybernetics has sold over 30 million copies, quietly shaping the work of nearly every major motivational teacher since, from Tony Robbins to Brian Tracy. What Maltz uncovered is a profound secret about the human mind, that locked inside each of us is an automatic, goal-striving mechanism. A machine that, once given a target, cannot help but move toward it. The problem is, most of us have been unknowingly programming this machine for failure our entire lives. Today, we're going to explore his remarkable discovery. By the end of our time together, you will understand how this inner mechanism works, and more importantly, you will have the key to reprogramming it for the one thing it was designed for: success. This isn't just about positive thinking. It's about understanding the very mechanics of how you operate, so you can finally unlock the person you were always meant to be. Book summary. Drive. Maxwell Maltz was not a psychologist. He was a man of science, a surgeon who worked with flesh and bone. He believed in tangible results. And for years, he saw them. He watched a boy once called moronic because of his oversized ears become a sharp, successful business executive after a simple operation. He saw hardened criminals, whose faces were scarred and twisted, transform into responsible citizens once their disfigurements were corrected. It seemed like magic. The scalpel wasn't just cutting skin, it was cutting away old personalities, old failures, and revealing someone new underneath. But the magic wasn't consistent. For every person who was reborn, there was another who remained trapped in their old self, regardless of how beautiful their new face was. There was the Duchess with the perfect nose who still acted like an ugly duckling. There were patients who would look at their before and after photos and insist, "I see no difference." They couldn't see the change because, inside, nothing had changed at all. This led Maltz to a groundbreaking conclusion. Every single one of us carries a mental picture of ourselves. He called it the self-image. This self-image is not who you really are. It's who you think you are. It's a blueprint, constructed unconsciously from all your past experiences. It's built from your successes and your failures, your triumphs and your humiliations. It's molded by the way people reacted to you, especially when you were a child. Every belief you hold about yourself: I'm not good with numbers, I'm shy, I'm unlucky in love, I'm the kind of person who always messes things up, is a part of this blueprint. And here is the first critical discovery Maltz made. All of your actions, feelings, and behaviors are always consistent with your self-image. Think about that for a moment. It's not just that your actions are influenced by your self-image. They are governed by it. You will, quite literally, act like the sort of person you conceive yourself to be. In fact, you cannot act otherwise, no matter how hard you try with willpower alone. A schoolboy who sees himself as an F student will find a way to fail, even if he studies. His self-image demands it. He has proof on his report card, which then reinforces the image, creating a vicious cycle. A salesman who sees himself as a $5,000 a year man will, strangely, always end up earning about that much. If he gets a great territory, he'll slack off as he approaches his target. If he gets a poor territory, he'll work like a madman to hit that exact number. The self-image acts like a thermostat, always pulling him back to his preconceived limit. This is why positive thinking often fails. You can't put a new patch on an old garment, as the saying goes. Telling yourself I will be successful while your inner blueprint screams I am a failure creates a conflict that willpower can't win. The foundation itself must be changed. But this leads to the second, and most hopeful, of Maltz's discoveries. The self-image can be changed. You weren't born with the self-image you have now. You learned it. And just as you learn to be who you think you are, you can learn to be who you want to be. But how? This question is what led Maltz to the fascinating new science of cybernetics. The word cybernetics comes from a Greek word meaning steersman, the one who steers a ship. It's the study of goal-seeking mechanisms. Think of a torpedo. You give it a target. The torpedo moves forward, constantly receiving feedback from its environment. When it's off course to the left, it gets negative feedback and corrects to the right. When it's too far right, it corrects to the left. It zigs and zags, making mistakes and correcting them, until it hits its target. It doesn't get discouraged. It doesn't condemn itself for being off course. It simply uses the error as information to get back on track. Maltz realized that the human brain and nervous system operate as a perfect servo mechanism. We have a built-in guidance system. He called it the success mechanism. Think about something as simple as picking up a pencil from a table. You don't consciously think, I must now contract my deltoid muscle, extend my triceps, and engage my flexor digitorum profundus. You just decide to pick it up. Your forebrain selects the target, and then your automatic mechanism takes over. Your eyes provide feedback on how far your hand is from the pencil. Your brain uses memories of all the times you've picked things up before. Your hand moves, corrects, and lands perfectly on the pencil. It's a miracle of engineering, and it's happening automatically. This success mechanism is always at work, whether you're learning to ride a bike, catch a baseball, or solve a complex business problem. It is impersonal. It doesn't have a will of its own. It's a machine. And like any machine, it simply works on the data you feed it. Present it with success goals, and it functions as a success mechanism. Present it with negative goals, with worry, fear, and images of failure, and it functions just as faithfully as a failure mechanism. So, what is the target that this mechanism shoots for? It's your self-image. Your self-image sets the boundaries for what your automatic mechanism can accomplish. It defines the area of the possible. If your self-image says you can't, your automatic mechanism accepts that as the target and makes it a reality. If your self-image says you can, your mechanism will go to work to find a way. This is the heart of Psycho-Cybernetics. You have a mind, which is the operator. And you have a machine, your brain and nervous system, which is the goal-striving servant. The key to a better life is learning how to operate your machine. And the primary tool for operating this machine is your imagination. Maltz discovered something that psychologists have since proven time and time again. The human nervous system cannot tell the difference between a real experience and an experience imagined vividly and in detail. Think about what happens when you worry. You are imagining a negative outcome. You picture it in your mind. You feel the anxiety. Your heart rate might even increase. Your body is reacting as if the negative event is already happening. You are using your imagination to practice failure. So, Maltz asked, what if we use this same power to practice success? He pointed to a fascinating study on basketball players. One group practiced free throws every day for 20 days. They improved by 24%. A second group did no practice and, unsurprisingly, showed no improvement. But a third group spent 20 minutes a day imagining they were making free throws. They would mentally picture the ball leaving their hands, arching through the air, and swishing through the net. If they missed in their mind, they would imagine correcting their aim. The result? They improved by 23%. Almost the exact same improvement as the group that physically practiced. Mental practice is not just wishful thinking. When you vividly imagine an action, you are creating new neural pathways in your brain, the same pathways that would be created by the actual experience. You are, in essence, creating synthetic experience. You are building a memory of success before it has even happened. The great chess champion Alekhine prepared for his match against the unbeatable Capablanca by spending 3 months playing chess only in his mind. He conditioned his success mechanism. When he finally sat down at the board, his brain already had the successful patterns ready to go. This is the first key to unlocking your real personality. Use your imagination deliberately. Spend time each day creating a mental motion picture of yourself as you want to be. Don't just think I want to be confident. See yourself being confident. Imagine yourself walking into a room full of people. See your posture, head held high, shoulders back. Hear the sound of your voice, calm and steady. Feel the handshake, firm and warm. Watch other people smiling, responding to your quiet confidence. Make the mental picture as detailed and sensory as you can. You're not trying to fool yourself. You are providing your automatic mechanism with a clear target. You are giving it a new blueprint to work from. But often, this isn't enough. Our old blueprint, our old self-image, is sticky. It feels true because we've lived with it for so long. It has hypnotized us into believing its limitations are real. So, the next step, Maltz says, is to dehypnotize yourself from false beliefs. Remember Alfred Adler, the famous psychologist? As a boy, he was terrible at arithmetic. His teacher told his parents he was dumb in math. His parents believed it. And Adler himself accepted it. His grades proved it. He had been hypnotized by a false belief. One day, the teacher put a problem on the board that no one could solve. Suddenly, Adler saw the answer. He went to the board, shaking, while the class laughed, and he solved it. In that moment, the hypnosis was broken. He realized the belief was false. He went on to become an excellent math student. Most of our limitations are not limitations of fact, but limitations of belief. We've been hypnotized by ideas like I'm not a creative person, I'm just not disciplined, or I'll never be wealthy. These are just words, repeated over and over until they feel like truths etched in stone. To break the spell, you must use the power of rational thinking. You must become a detective and challenge your own beliefs. When a negative belief surfaces, I can't do this, ask yourself, why? Why do I believe that I can't? Is this belief based on an actual, unchangeable fact, or is it based on an assumption, an old conclusion I drew from a past failure? Is there any rational reason for this belief to hold power over me today? Would I hold this same limiting belief about someone else in my situation? Often, Just shining the light of reason on these beliefs is enough to make them crumble. You realize you've been living your life based on the offhand comment of a teacher from 30 years ago, or a conclusion you drew from one failed attempt as a teenager. You must consciously and deliberately reject these irrational ideas. Bertrand Russell, the great philosopher, said that whenever a foolish or negative thought entered his mind, he would pull it up by the roots, examine it, and reject it. Don't just let these thoughts run wild. Challenge them. See them for the imposters they are. As you begin to challenge the old beliefs and imagine a new self, there is one more crucial ingredient: relaxation. Maltz was deeply influenced by the French pharmacist Émile Coué, who taught a simple but profound principle called the law of reversed effort. When the will and the imagination are in conflict, the imagination invariably wins. Have you ever tried really, really hard to remember a name, only to have it completely escape you? You strain, you use willpower, you grit your teeth, and nothing. Then, you give up. You relax, start thinking about something else, and poof, the name pops into your head. That's the law of reversed effort in action. Conscious effort, or trying too hard, jams the automatic mechanism. It creates tension, anxiety, and excessive self-criticism. It's like a stutterer who becomes so careful about not making a mistake that he can't speak at all. Your creative mechanism works best when you are relaxed. When you are not trying to force it. When you give it a target and then trust it to do its work. Think about it. We form our most deeply ingrained habits, both good and bad, without any sense of strain. They are learned in a relaxed state. Therefore, new beliefs and new habits must also be formed in a relaxed state. Maltz recommends a daily practice of deep physical relaxation. Find a quiet place, lie down, and consciously let go of the tension in every muscle group, from your toes to your forehead. Then, once you're physically relaxed, you can begin the work of mental imaging. In this relaxed state, your mind is more receptive to new ideas. The new blueprint you are imagining can sink in more deeply, without the resistance of conscious effort. This isn't about being passive in life. It's about being intelligently active. You do your conscious work, you gather information, you analyze the situation, you set your goals. But then, when it's time to perform, you must learn to relax and let your success mechanism work for you. As William James said, "Enclamp your intellectual and practical machinery, and let it run free." As you put these pieces together, a clear mental image of your goal, the dehypnotizing of old beliefs, and the practice of relaxation, something wonderful begins to happen. You start to feel different. You begin to acquire the habit of happiness. Maltz saw happiness not as a reward for success, but as the very engine of it. Most people, said Abraham Lincoln, are about as happy as they make up their minds to be. Happiness is a mental habit. It's a decision to focus on the pleasant thoughts, the positive possibilities, the good that is present in every moment, no matter how small. We are so often unhappy because of our automatic reactions to petty annoyances. The driver who cuts you off. The friend who doesn't call back. The rain on the day of your picnic. We interpret these impersonal events as personal affronts. We allow them to dictate our emotional state. We are acting like puppets, letting external events pull our strings. The habit of happiness is the decision to become the master, not the puppet. It's the realization that events don't disturb us, but our opinion of events disturbs us. You lost money in the stock market? That's a fact. That you are ruined and disgraced? That's an opinion. And you have the power to change your opinions. By practicing gratitude, by consciously choosing to focus on what's right instead of what's wrong, you are creating the ideal emotional environment for your success mechanism to thrive. A merry heart, as the proverb says, truly does good like a medicine. It optimizes your entire system for better performance. So, what does this new personality, this success-type personality, actually look like? Maltz provides a simple and memorable acronym, built from the word success itself. S is for sense of direction. A bicycle maintains its balance only when it's moving forward. So do we. We are goal-striving beings. When we have no goal that is important to us, we feel lost and aimless. The successful person is always moving towards something that matters to them. They have a nostalgia for the future, not the past. U is for understanding. This means communicating clearly and honestly, first with yourself, and then with others. It means separating fact from opinion. It means being willing to see the truth, even when it's uncomfortable, because only then can you respond appropriately. C is for courage. Not the absence of fear, but the willingness to act in spite of it. Every day requires small acts of courage, the courage to make a decision, to risk a mistake, to bet on your own ideas. A step in the wrong direction is better than standing still, because once you're moving, you can always correct your course. C is for charity. This means having a genuine interest in other people. Recognizing that they, too, are unique individuals with their own struggles and dreams. Maltz observed a profound psychological truth. Our feelings about ourselves tend to mirror our feelings about others. When you become more charitable toward others, you invariably become more charitable toward yourself. E is for esteem. Self-esteem. Holding a low opinion of yourself is not a virtue, it's a vice. It is the root of jealousy, hostility, and defensiveness. Real self-esteem isn't about what you've done or what you own. It's an appreciation of yourself for what you are, a unique creation with inherent worth. S is for self-confidence. Confidence is built on the memory of past success. The successful person forms the habit of remembering their successes and forgetting their failures. You may have failed 99 times, but what matters is the one successful attempt. That is the one you remember, dwell on, and reinforce. And finally, S is for self-acceptance. This is perhaps the most important ingredient of all. You cannot build a new self-image on a foundation of self-rejection. Self-acceptance means accepting yourself as you are right now, with all your faults, weaknesses, and imperfections. You are not your mistakes. You make mistakes. A violin that plays a sour note is not a worthless violin. It simply needs to be tuned. Accept your actual self as the starting point, the vehicle you have for the journey, and stop hating it because it isn't perfect. This, then, is the blueprint of the success-type personality. But just as important is recognizing the signs of the failure mechanism. Maltz gave us another acronym for this: failure. Frustration, aggressiveness misdirected, insecurity, loneliness, uncertainty, resentment, and emptiness. These are the negative feedback signals, the warning lights on your dashboard. When you feel them, don't condemn yourself. Recognize them for what they are, signposts telling you that you are off course. They are telling you that your goals are unrealistic, or your self-image is inadequate, or you have forgotten to be your own best friend. They are signals to take corrective action, to re-engage your success mechanism. And what happens when you do this? When you consistently practice these principles, you start to get what Maltz calls that winning feeling. It's that magical sense of certainty, that quiet confidence that you can't fail. The golfer Kerry Middlecoff described it as a feeling that every move I made was perfect. Don Larson, the only pitcher to throw a perfect game in a World Series, said he had the crazy feeling the night before that it would happen. This feeling isn't the cause of success. It's the symptom. It's the thermometer telling you that your inner machinery is geared for success. It's the sign that you have provided your automatic mechanism with a clear, positive goal, and it is now running free, guiding your every move with a precision that conscious effort could never match. You can learn to evoke this feeling. Go back in your memory to a time you succeeded, no matter how small. Relive that moment. Feel the satisfaction, the pride, the confidence. Anchor that feeling in your body. Then, bring that feeling with you as you imagine your desired future success. You are borrowing the feeling of past success to create the reality of future success. You are linking the two in your nervous system, creating a powerful chain of positive association. Ultimately, what Maxwell Maltz gave us is more than a set of techniques. He gave us a new way of seeing ourselves. He showed us that we are not the helpless victims of our past, but the architects of our future. That within each of us is a powerful, silent, and obedient servant, waiting for our instructions. The old recordings of failure and limitation can be changed. The old emotional scars can be healed. By understanding the principles of your own inner cybernetics, you can stop fighting yourself and start working with yourself. You can unlock the real personality that has been waiting inside you all along. You can give yourself not just a new face, but a new life. And in doing so, you will discover that you already have, right now, everything you need to be the person you were always meant to be. Commentary. It's truly remarkable to think that Psycho-Cybernetics was written over 6 decades ago. In a world now saturated with self-help books, productivity hacks, and life coaching gurus, Maltz's work feels less like another entry in the genre and more like the foundational text upon which so much of it was built. What makes it so enduring? I believe it's because Maltz wasn't just a philosopher, he was a surgeon. He was a scientist who grounded his psychological insights in the tangible mechanics of how we, as biological machines, operate. The central metaphor of the book, the human being as a goal-striving servo mechanism, is brilliant because it demystifies the process of self-improvement. It takes it out of the realm of vague, wishy-washy positive thinking and places it into a practical, engineering framework. If your life isn't going where you want it to go, the problem isn't that you are flawed or broken. The problem is that your guidance system is locked onto the wrong target. The solution, then, is not to whip yourself into shape with more willpower, but to simply, calmly, and deliberately provide your inner mechanism with a new, better target. This is a profoundly empowering and compassionate idea. It separates you, the conscious, creative operator, from your behavior, which is simply the output of the machine. This separation is the key to self-acceptance. You are not your failures. You are the one who can learn from them. You are not your bad habits. You are the one who can reprogram them. Perhaps the most powerful lesson in this book is the understanding of how imagination works. The idea that your nervous system can't tell the difference between a real and an imagined experience is a superpower hiding in plain sight. It means you can practice success. It means you can build the neural pathways for confidence, skill, and poise in the quiet of your own mind, before you ever step onto the field of life. This is not fantasy. It's a form of targeted mental rehearsal that athletes, actors, surgeons, and top performers in every field use to achieve excellence. If you take only one thing away from our discussion today, let it be this: your self-image is the central key to your life. It is the silent governor that determines the heights you can reach. And you have the power to change it. Not overnight, not with a single magic bullet, but through the steady, patient application of these principles. So here's a simple action you can take, starting today. Just for the next 21 days, the amount of time Maltz observed it takes for an old mental image to dissolve and a new one to begin to gel, try this. Each morning, spend just 5 minutes in a quiet chair. For the first 2 minutes, practice deep relaxation. Just let go. Then, for the next 3 minutes, create a vivid mental picture of the person you want to be for that day. Not for the rest of your life, just for today. See yourself moving through your day with a little more confidence, a little more cheerfulness, a little more courage. Feel how that would feel. Don't force it, Just play with the idea. Give your success mechanism its target for the day, and then let it go and let it do its work. That's it. It's a small step, but it is in these small, consistent course corrections that the entire direction of a life can be changed. That was a summary of Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. We've touched on the core ideas today, but I'll be honest with you. A summary can only guide you to the door. The real transformation happens when you walk through it yourself by reading the book. It's in the quiet moments of reflection, when one of Maltz's stories or a simple phrase connects with your own life in a way you didn't expect. This summary is your map, but the book is the journey. If anything we've talked about has sparked something in you, I encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning new information, it's an experience that can genuinely change the way you see yourself and, as a result, the world you live in. Also, if you found this summary valuable, I'd be so grateful if you'd hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. That way, you won't miss our next exploration into another life-changing book. Let's keep learning and growing together.